I just want to say a thank you to all those in service or have ever been in service that have protected my right for freedom and my constitutional rights. I thank you for the time that you put in to protect us. You're greatly appreciated by me and our 1111 family. Welcome, everyone, to 1111 True Crime. I thought about it, you guys. I feel like I might have to change the name of our channel. Does that make sense? Should we change it to Words Matter? I'm joking, of course. We'll always be 1111 True Crime. But words do matter. And they're mattering more because we're finding out that sometimes it's like, where'd it come from? How did we get that little, was it a Freudian slip? So at one point, a while back, like a month or two ago, in the Idaho 4 case, the judge, Mr. John Judge, Honorable Judge John Judge, yep, him, JJJ. I think of the Muppets when I see this dude. I'm just saying. He slipped up and he said, Brian Kopaka. And we were all like, what in the actual heck is he doing? And it just makes you pause. Because if you're familiar with this case, there's a lot of stuff about Kopaka that coincides with the exact timing of Brian Kohlberger. There's things like they both from Pennsylvania. They moved to Washington. All kinds of stuff. So we are in a battle for justice. All we want at 1111, I can tell you how everybody here feels because I feel the same way. We only want whoever truly did this crime to be found guilty and serve their sentence. And that's what we want. That is truly the wish of all of us. We've been in this case from the get-go. And I'm going to tell you something. When Ann Taylor came on, I didn't have a lot of faith in her. But she's doing okay. She's doing okay. However, we get to use our little video screen. Hold on, I got to remember how to do this. Okay, first we'll do our opener, then we'll go to the video room. How about that? All right, you guys, get ready. I want to just say hello to everybody, and I'll be right back, my lovelies. Right back. Oh, I was watching chat, not paying attention. Okay, you guys, let's get over to the video. Now, I want you to listen, y'all. I'm like, listen to this. It's clear as a bell to me. I don't think I can turn it up any louder. Nope, it says, well, it might blow your eardrums. Brace yourself, y'all. I'm going to play a little bit of the last court hearing. It is, what is it, a 3-4 second clip? Listen to what she says Brian Kohlberger's name is. Listen, y'all, listen. Oh, no, hold on. Hold on. Oh, no, I gotta go get it out of a file. Let's go to a different screen. Technical difficulties. We're gonna go to snow. You guys, hang on a minute. I gotta go get the clip. It didn't want to load, but we got this. We know what we're doing. We got snow ready. I'm working on something, a different project that's part of it. Okay, I need, what do I need? Idaho 4. There it is. Or isn't. Oh, the clips I have are disturbing. Oh, Lord, I got like... What would it be called? I think it's called Anne Calls. I think I'm way... Yep, I got it. Let me put it on the screen. Replace the file in the destination. Where is it? Oh, I had it the whole dang time. You guys, what's up with that? Whoa.
That's right here.
Uno momento, por favor. Switching back. Phew. Thought that'd cool you guys off for a little bit. All right. That was like 911 emergency. How do you state your case? House of Insanity, I've lost the file. Okay, here you go, loves. Here you go. Listen, listen. All right, I'll shut up.
Phone that right here is where coming back to
the number you associated with Brent Koberger.
right.
Okay. When, after you put those call detail records.
Okay, I'm going to do it again. She motions towards Brian. And then she says blah, blah, blah about Brent Koberger. Listen.
The number you associated with Brent Koberger.
Right.
She said Brent, y'all. Listen again.
Associated with Brent Koberger.
Right.
Okay. The number you associated with Brent Koberger.
Right.
Okay. The number you associated with Brent Koberger.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. It's weird to me because it's not the first time. It's the second time that either Brent's first name or Kopaka, his second last name, his last name, has been brought up in Brian Koberger's trial when Brent was swatted on the very day that Brian was leaving to Pennsylvania. Can I slow it down? I think I can. Hold on, you guys. Okay, I got the volume figured out. Hold on. Speed. All right, we'll go to half. She's going to sound so drunk. Listen. All right, listen, lovely.
The number you associated with Brent Koberger.
Right.
Okay. When the number you associated with Brent Koberger.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe she says Brian, but it doesn't sound like there's any Brian. It sounds to me like Brent. She didn't even pick up on it. I know, Leslie, it feels like we're being punked. Let me get over. We're done with this little screen. We'll go to the live chat room. Let's switch it out. Let's see if I can pull this off. All this stuff is so new to me. Okay. And then this. What did I do wrong? I may not have done it. I may not get chat on this tonight. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Hold on. I'm getting it. You guys bear with me. All right. So it was Brent. Yeah, I thought so. I listened to it like 100 times. I kid you not. And I got to thinking about this, you guys, and I don't know where this is going, but I want your opinion. Now, I hope you are okay, Jenny, because she's saying she might not be here because of storms, and I haven't had a chance to check out with chat. Brent, right. Right. Holly Berry says, thank you for validating what I knew I heard the other day. I'm just checking to see if I'm muted. Hold on, I gotta fix something else. There we go. Holly Berry says, I was screaming it in chat, but they all said I was crazy. Rose Bunny says, I slowed it down. It sounds like she says Bran. Summer Snow says, indeed, Brent. I think it was Brent. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like I'm in agreement with those that think that. Danielle says, I'm here from my desk. Well, welcome, welcome. Dreamweaver wants to know, do you think this is all fake trial to distract us from the real critters like the Brat Boys? In my opinion, this could be why this darling, so long to, I think you lost me. They all graduated in a long ago. Do I think it's a fake trial? No, I don't. Do I think it's a get a patsy and frame him? Yes, I do. But that's my humble opinion. Some people disagree. Carolyn Miller says, well, I think Brent got to the courtroom. We all know that Chief Fry had him red rummed, in my opinion. Aw, thank you, aw. As says, we sincerely appreciate you leaving a thumbs up on the way in or out or whenever it feels right. Beat the algorithm, which means more folks see this. Keep the focus on the case, right? Carolyn Miller says, and Brett Boyd was the swatter. Ceci says, they can't even keep their strange name straight. Get it together, Idaho. Real Girl says, also, 1122 is like one survivor in a room, one survivor in another room, two victims in a room, two victims in a room. So many odd things. So Rose Bunny says, who's Brett? I don't know a Brett. Oh, Brett Boyd. I think he's a officer. I couldn't tell you. But yeah, when it comes to the Idaho 4 case, I've begun to do a little thinking about maybe what's behind all this. And there had to be a reason that he was swatted out. But we don't know it. And I began to wonder if there were rug connections, if there's any type of rug connections between Kopaka and perhaps the frat themselves, then we could understand a little bit more, possibly, of what was at risk. I mean, think about all the different people that are no longer with us that belong to that brat, right? Young, college age kids. And if they had a rug problem, but they have to look like they don't, it would be in their best interest, in my humble opinion. I'm just sharing my own humble opinion here. It would be in their best interest to downplay that and get it labeled as, a personal choice, if you follow me. And with that, it would allow, like, these rug pressers that make this out and hand it out, and, they have their market, right? I'm being careful. And in doing that, if you look at the Idaho 4 victims, we have one of them that is a sleuth, and that is Kaylee. She was subscribed to Olivia, Chronicles of Olivia, and she was always investigating things we've heard. And I began to wonder about all this connection, and was Kopaka aware of it? And he was talking about 4 roommates, so they made up a story saying it was his own roommates, but he was really trying to make it known, like in an, trying to get the information out there about the 4 brats. And they were like, let's turn this back into 4 roommates, make it sound like it's completely disconnected. I get it, Danielle. I think we are never going to know the real truth. I don't think so either. Carolyn Miller says, oh, I forgot to do this whole thing. Hold on, let me clear this so it'll let me catch up. Carolyn Miller says, Kopaka's girlfriend lived next door at Queen Road's apartment, a case of mistaken identity, in my opinion. Carolyn, who is Kopaka's girlfriend? And how do we know she lived next door to the Queen Road apartments? Where is this coming from, hun? I mean, I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying, show me something. Because otherwise it's in your opinion, and I don't want to say that. Is your opinion if it's fact. I mean, if you have something. So let me know. Pa Mom says, Brett Boyd is a Pullman PD. As says, we kindly ask that everyone use, in my opinion, when stating opinions, even if you believe them to be facts. Also, spell it like rugs. You know the deal. Thanks. Well, and it is because algorithm picks up on you and that people will be like, why'd my comment disappear? I'm like, I didn't delete anything. And I go look and it's being held by YouTube and it's got the F word in it and something else. And I'm like, I can't approve that. Because then YouTube starts looking at my channel going, how come you're approving things we've told you that you signed on that you wouldn't do? And so we have to PG it on YouTube. That's why I'm starting to, look at Discord and some other things. Carolyn Miller says she picked up on that, Mama D, you're a bright woman. I'll tell you what I picked up on is when she said Brent, I was all the way in the other room. I came in and rewound it. I'm like, what? So I was for sure stuck, right? What was worse is Kopaka gets a second Purple Heart. And I think it's interesting that like Brett Payne and Kopaka they weren't in the same regime, if you will, or whatever it's called, but they both served at different times under the same unit, if you will, I believe, to the best of my knowledge. And they're both, I read, literally did my research, and they're both parachute trooper type people. And I'm like, that is so weird. And on the December 15th, that is when Brent was swatted. And on December 15th is when Koberger decided to head back to Pennsylvania. Isn't that weird? Okay. Carolyn Miller says her name was Colleen. He had a fight with her about cheating, and it was on Linda Lane audio. I recognized Brent's voice because we were neighbors in North Carolina, Fort Bragg. Interesting. As says, I remember when Judge also did the similar Freudian slip. Yeah, he said Kopaka. Yeah. It was weird. It was totally weird. Now, if there was, I mean, what are the coincidences that, and I don't believe that TikTok guy that says he was the one that called it in on Brent. I don't. I just don't. Somebody's going to have to prove it for me. But let me grab a drink and wet my whistle. I encourage you to stay hydrated. I got my favorite sweet tea this evening. Make sure you're relaxed. I have some interesting things I'm going to be sharing with you guys in the near future. I think we're going to try to like take it down low on Friday nights and just relax, or even Saturday nights like tonight. And I thought about that setting, like I was just playing with it, making different scenes. Okay, what was test one? Now this is an Adobe one. What do you think of that? I added stuff to it. I made it snow outside. I added the fireplace. I added the little cup. I added the the hourglass, right? I added a candle. I don't know. I thought that could be cozy to try out. But I didn't want to buy it unless you guys thought it was something we should do. You guys let me know. And then I think you saw, did you see this one? Yeah, I showed you this one. I thought we could do that. And that way we could talk about true crime in a more relaxing setting. Just once in a while. See what you think about that. Come on in. Have a seat. Grab your cup. Oh, that's so nice. Y'all love that? I can buy because see my beautiful generous purse Swain and all my lovely like ass and all you beautiful people that do snooper chats, y'all can y'all every time you do that I save them up and all I got to do is buy Photoshop with that. Yeah, I can pay for an annual thing and we can have that. And what I mean by that is I can actually cause like if I wanted to have an ocean scene, I could have it where it would ripple the water. You know how I like to play with, different graphics and stuff. You like that fireplace? Yeah, like I can move the fire. See, I made the fire and then I lined it up. And I was like, let there be fire. Let me get it back in there. There we go. And then I made this little thing here, right? I don't know, just things that move and light up. Yeah, very Sherlock Holmes. You guys inspire me all the time. Hey, Karen Guy. So give me a one if you prefer different backgrounds like this, because I came up with a whole bunch of them for our little call-ins on the weekends. I was thinking it'd be really cool to have one like in the, like, boggy woods. Could be a picture. Camping where you just get to see the campfire. Maybe looking up at the stars and there being like, you could even go with the Aurora Borealis. A library would be cool. Like a Harry Potter kind of feel. Or a kitchen. Or a movie theater would be good. An aquarium would be awesome. Anyway, some of my ideas. But I like being able to add things that make it feel more interactive and warm. And I was like, it needs to be snowing. I don't know why, just because I'm overheated today. Look at you guys. You love it. Well, then I'll go get that program. Awesome. That's a cool scene. See, you guys say I have a relaxing voice, and you guys are my best critics. Because even when you tell me I have great this or great that, which is beautiful, and I thank you for that. I'm grateful for you. It still inspires me, even if you say I don't have. So some people are like, you have a great voice, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, then maybe we need to tone down the visuals and do things a little bit more soothing. And that came from you guys last night. A relaxing scene because I'm old. Tracy. You guys, isn't that awesome? I really enjoy it. Yeah. How about a tropical beach? See, we could change it. I mean, I absolutely loved making this. It didn't take long at all. It was easy. And we could come in. So you could come in and I could be like, our opening, I could be like, oh, I'm so glad you got my call and you showed up. Come on in, have a seat. I've got you a cup of Joe there. Let's talk. So, you told me that you figured out who Papa Rogers is? Really? Who do you think it is? And Carrie says to me, Brett Payne's is Papa. Is Papa Jesse Payne. Sounds like Payne at the setup. Ooh. Are you kidding me? That's creepy enough. It could be right. Because I've always thought it was a mole. You do know that, like, Brett is either a twin or his brother's like 1 year older. I mean, they're really close in age. Hey, Holly Berry, where are you, lovely? Warm is always great. The AC is cranked in here right now. I don't know. It was so hot today. Mama D went and did my whole yard. It looks so amazing. My flowers are in bloom. And that's another thing. I could just film my yard sometime and just be like, here, I'll cut it and do it and slow it down and make it really pretty. We'll just start changing up our little themes. So if there was a connection, Carolyn Miller says, oh, but now y'all can't see the messages. I can still read them for you. Does anyone else recall that short video Chief Bride did about the POI in December of 2022 before Brian was ever a suspect? Okay, Carolyn, let me reread this. Does anyone else recall that short video Chief Bride did about the person of interest in December of 2022? I'm not sure, my love. Are you talking about the one where he was looking for multiple suspects? We'll come back. Follow up, lovely. Follow up. Oh, Jennifer Swain. I've got to show this. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can add in the chat. Let's see. It would be a window capture. One I've already got. Right? Will it work? It will work. Okay, hold on. Let me fix it. Otherwise, we could leave chat up. Look at see-through. But it takes away from the relaxing fire, doesn't it? Thank you so incredibly much, Jennifer. Where do you guys want this? Over here? Like this? Okay. Jennifer, thank you for that. Thank you, lovely. Guaranteed I'll get Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop. It's like, I think $89.99 for the year. You've donated so much over the last few weeks. We've easily got it covered. No problem. I had it covered before you did that because you guys are just incredibly generous. Thank you, lovely. Thank you. Carolyn Miller says, I feel like Carolyn may need to call in so we can have a conversation. You seem to know this. Like, I feel like I would really like to know more of what you want to share. We could do a call-in sometime. If you want to, Carolyn, let me know. Well, Payne and Kopaka had service near the same time before Payne was employed in Moscow. Near the same time. That is true. You're right. Carolyn Miller, you know your stuff on this. Because what you're saying right there, I know it to be true. I did my research too. Wow. Carrie has a screenshot. How do you send it? Go ahead and let me put it up here for you guys. You probably hear me type. It's all part of the ambiance. And then, boom! There it is, my lovelies. It is rubberducky2005@yahoo.com. Please reserve your theories to post in the comments and don't email them to me. And here's why. Nobody else gets to see your beautiful theories. And you guys are so smart. And then I'm like, ugh, I would like everybody to read it. So make sure you're sharing it with everybody. Best Me says, I also love how you read the comments to us too, because sometimes if there aren't pictures to watch or you are on the camera, then I like to set my phone down. Where'd you go? I lost you, lovely. There you go. And turn the brightness down and just listen. That's cool. Thank you, lovely. What's my number? All right. We're going to switch to the bright screen. I got it. We're going to our phone booth, which I'm going to change it up. We'll have a phone booth that's real calm and not so crazy looking. But that's my number, but I got to get it ready. I got to like turn the phone back on. Uno momento, we'll get you set up. I'm almost there, y'all. Okay. I think I got it. Let me see. Oh, shoot. I should have brought my other phone holder. I shoulda. We'll figure it out. This is great. I'm so excited for her to call in. Now, this is for Carolyn Miller. Please show respect and allow her to call in. It's on the screen, and Carolyn, the number is 715-965-8617. We'll give her just a minute. Mom says, was it Payne who took a pic of Kaylee's ID at the house? That's a good question. Who knows that? Shenanigans says, your typing sounds like crackling fire. Let me see. Does it sound like it? Give me a 1 if you think my typing sounds like crackling fire. Mike O'Donnell says, where's area code 715? Here we go. Hello, who have I got with me tonight?
Carolyn, Mom. How are you?
Ooh, bad connection. You sound like a guitar, honey.
Bad connection?
Yeah, it's really twangy like a guitar.
I don't have any volume in the background on.
Me either.
I'm on an island here in Washington State.
What?
Is it
Hello?
I can hear you. It's fine. Is it clear yet?
It's like coming through really broken, hun. Will you try to call back?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Thank you, love.
Okay.
I feel like it'll be better if she tries to call back. You guys said 1. George said 1. Is this Bubbly? No, Lovely. This isn't Bubbly. Okay, here she is. Let's get her on. Hello?
A little better?
Oh, 1,000%. I don't even know what happened.
Okay, well, I opened the window because I'm kind of in a bounce zone here because I'm close to a base. So a lot of times my signal will get overridden by the base. But
Okay.
if we got a clear signal, we're okay.
Yeah, we're great. You sound wonderful now. So, did you know Kopaka?
Yes, I knew Brent when I moved to Fort Bragg at in North Carolina. Brent had just gotten home from his first tour of Afghanistan, and we were neighbors. We lived on Ranger Drive, and I rented a trailer that was right next to his, and we literally slept like 30 feet away from each other. That's how close our trailers were next to each other. And Brent got orders to go in for his second tour. And I used to visit over there often, and Brent was telling me he didn't want to go back and serve the second tour. He was already having like some PTSD, but he hadn't sustained any injuries yet. And when he went back to the second tour, his whole entire Humvee of men that he was with were killed by an IED. Brent was the only survivor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I hadn't seen Brent, and I didn't even know Brent was in Washington State because I came back here to Washington State years later, and I didn't even know Brent was living on the other side of the state because I live in Western Washington, and he, of course, was in Eastern Washington.
Right.
But when I started following the Koberger story, I'm like, something ain't right here. And I was following the interviews, especially the ones that Chief Fry was giving. And I think it was a Spokane reporter had done a one-on-one interview with just Chief Fry. And Chief Fry was telling the public that at that time he had a person of interest. He didn't say name, but he did say that he spoke to the individual every day for about an hour each and every day. And it was almost 2 weeks' time that he had been referencing to in the video of the interview. So after Brett got killed in Pullman, I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Trying to, find out as much information as I could. And I realized I went back to go look at that video, and they had pulled it from the YouTube. I have no way of grabbing that YouTube unless I contact that specific reporter, and I can't even remember her name. It was a female reporter. And I just wondered how many people had actually got a chance to hear that actual interview that Fry did, because it was made public. That to me was critical evidence on behalf of Brent Kopaka. So Brent's injuries, he ended up with getting a traumatic brain injury. He wasn't allowed to drive a vehicle anymore. And he was also had been cited for a DWI, which kept him from having his driver's license in Washington. And the other thing that I thought was kind of gregarious for Brent was that his medical services were 84 miles away in Airway Heights, Washington at Fairchild Air Force Base. Brent would have had to travel to go get help for his PTSD, any medications, from his veteran services, 84 miles. Well, how do you do that when you're stranded all the way out there in Pullman, Washington?
Yeah.
But for Fry to tantalize him and grill this guy, accusing him of this Idaho 4, I just thought that was, one, you don't do that to a decorated honorable veteran. Two, and then order the man killed. I saw the police tape that they had where Brent said that his girlfriend's brother's sister's boyfriend or whoever it was in the hotel hallway was really trying to drive Brent also into a tizzy. He felt he was being poisoned, and I believe him. Brent was a good, kind soul. He was a nice man, and everybody that knew him just adored him. I know from his training that he would have never, ever thought, even with PTSD, to hurt any civilian. Brent was trained better than that. But, Mama, the one issue I have with Whitman County and this whole Moscow fiasco is that not once did the Moscow police or FBI go to the SEAL team training grounds in Whitman County and interview any of the newbies that they had out there, which was probably about 20 individuals who were training at that specific time to learn to kill just like that. So, and I know this because when I bought my first home here in Washington, it was in Whitman County years ago, prior to me going to North Carolina. So, that's not a general knowledge fact that the public has, that SEAL team training happens out there, because they try to keep that kind of stuff private. But it is a fact. And why Moscow Police Department couldn't consider that on people who are trained to kill, did they come and invade that house, or the kids that lived in that house, they didn't describe this crime scene as a domestic household issue, which, from profiling this case, that's been my determination, that this crime happened within the household, from the peers in the household and the friends to the household, and there's no other way around it.
Do you
but
feel
here you
like
got a guy
Brent,
sitting in jail almost 2 years now.
do you feel like
know?
Brent may have been in the knowledge of what could have happened over in the Idaho 4 house on 11/22, and then he was targeted? Do you feel that's even possible?
I do. And with his girlfriend being next door at the Queen Road Apartments, and his voice coming up on that Linda Lane tape where he confronts the girl, you told me you were at my mother's, you cheated on me, and they had a domestic that evening on tape in the apartment that came up on the Linda Lane audio footage. So I don't know how Brent got there to go visit her, but she lied to him, and he caught her at that, and I recognized his voice straight up. I'm like, that's Brent. this makes sense to me now. You know,
So you're saying he confronted someone over there that night?
not at the King Road house. He confronted his girlfriend at the Queen Road Apartments.
Next
So I
to
could
the
see how Moscow
1122.
police, yeah, I could see how Moscow police might mistaken that. But really, if you get down to the real nitty gritty of it, first of all, they had to have a tip to say, hey, I think it's so and so. As soon as the police came out with a launcher car, there was no doubt in my mind that Brian Koberger's sister called FBI and said, my brother drives a white Elantra and he goes to school in Pullman. Bam. They didn't look any further. And as soon as they looked at Koberger, they made an association with Brent, because when Brian first moved to Washington, Brian was probably staying in the same place Brent lived for a short time, because his apartment wasn't ready for college until the month of August. And he'd moved there, I think it was June, and invited to the pool party by July 19th. So he had June, July, August until his apartment was ready. Of course they would know each other. They're grown men, you know.
Yeah.
Brian's moved
As
to the
has a
area.
question. So she's saying, what did you hear Kopaka say on the Linda Lane footage when you said I
I heard
recognize
him say, you told me you were at your mother's. You're lying to me. You cheated on me. And she was hollering back with him, trying to beg him that no, she wasn't, you know. And it's, if you've heard the Linda Lane audio, it's on there.
Okay. So okay. Wow.
And the timeline, that timeline on that audio is not no 4 a.m. either. I think the timeline on that audio was something like the 2 a.m., around
Yeah.
2 a.m. or 2:23 or something like that. You know, normal closing hours after the bar. Bar closes like probably 2 o'clock, and then, you know, half hour after the bars close, you know. But no, Brent would not do that to any individual.
So,
Brent was
no.
frail.
How
and
would Brent
small
have
and
gotten
tiny.
home? Okay, so if he's there that night and it's on that footage, and Brent doesn't have a license, how would he have gotten home that night, I wonder, or that
Well, it's
that
only
morning?
a 10-mile walk.
That's
And
true.
10 miles is not that far to walk, especially for a former trained GI. You know, like that's nothing. That's like a breeze, you know, walk that far. Maybe he knew somebody else. Maybe he had somebody else waiting out in the parking lot. And it probably wasn't Brian, because Brian was at home for a certain amount of time that evening. I don't know
believe
what
till
time they picked up.
2:47, I think. Don't
Was
quote
it 2:44? Okay, so
Okay,
yeah, so
2:44,
if that happened at
2:47.
2:30 or 2:23 or something like that, then Brian didn't bring Brent over there.
Oh my gosh, what if all it is I mean, I'm just going to throw this out there and see if the squirrels pick it up, because that's how I feel about it. It's squirrely sounding, but sometimes the most squirrely, easiest answer ever is that Brent made it somewhere over by the park where Brian's lawyer is saying he was. And what if somehow Kopaka called Brian and said, come pick me up at the park. I'm stranded.
Well, that's possible.
Because they
but
keep saying, like,
they
Ann,
said his phone,
Carolyn,
his
Ann,
phone was wiped out.
okay, and Ann herself said, Brent, we have the judge, Johnny Judge, saying Kopaka. It's in the back, it's like in the peripheral vision of that courtroom.
I believe so too. I believe that exact same thing. And I really am working hard to try to clear Brent's name of all this. For one, he's a decorated veteran. The man had his whole life ahead of him, even with the struggles that he had. Brent didn't deserve to die.
Okay.
He really didn't.
You're really clicking some stuff together for me. So let's just say that, let's just say I don't think Brent had a dang thing to do with the crime itself. I believe there might be a connection between him and Koberger where somehow Kopaka might have known what happened because he had been there.
Right. I'm thinking maybe
He might have
if
saw
they
something
rode
or
up to the
heard
parking
something.
lot, they saw somebody.
What if
They
he saw them kids? Oh my golly, Carolyn. What if this is a huge throw spaghetti at the wall, y'all? Finger paint in the dark with glow paint. Ready? What if Brent saw what we saw, which was 4 to 6 individuals running from the house to the brats, and then heard about the murders, and then he had already left because he's mad at the girlfriend, and he got home and he started squawking about it, being like, I know who did that.
Right. Are you talking about the runners that were
Yeah.
masked?
Yep.
Going down? Yeah. Okay. This is what made me think of the SEAL team trainers. Was that there's no group goes out running and starts a run from a dead end. Okay, so they're going in the direction of leaving the King Road house down the road all together in formation, and that's what made me suspect it was somebody that was out training at the Whitman County SEAL training grounds.
I apologize.
That hit with me like a glove.
I choked on my tea, Carolyn. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
don't choke, Mama.
It went down the wrong tube, y'all. I'll be right back. Carolyn, keep
Okay.
talking, lovely. Keep sharing.
Okay, so when I went to North Carolina, when I originally met Brent, this was 5 years before Bin Laden had been located. So Brent and I teamed up together while I lived there near Fort Bragg, and we found the location. Now, Brent's an employed soldier, okay? He didn't get any reward money, and Rob O'Neill eventually took Bin Laden out. But we knew where Bin Laden was for 5 whole years before we went and killed him.
Did you read Bugsy's post? Are you able to see chat?
I'm on my phone. I
Carolyn,
don't have
listen.
chat.
Remember, okay, Bugsy says that's why he made the ICU post.
Well, it probably
You
is.
have some pieces to this puzzle, Carolyn.
So I did what is known as a geo profile for the location of Osama bin Laden, and I was actually right on. I can pick a needle out of a haystack, Mama. I've done it more than once.
Well, be careful
That's
about
right.
talking anything political, or they'll pull.
Right.
They'll pull the
Right,
channel. They won't just pull because we're on YouTube. And that's why I decided, I'm taking a couple days for my birthday, and then I'm going to jump on there and finish Discord, get it ready where you're not censored. Because
Right.
we are censored. Like, even just saying that name, I'm sure
Yeah.
I'll get like a little slap on the wrist. I mean, they're very childlike. We have to keep it so PG.
Okay, on a different note, I've been doing profiling, professional, successful profiling for a number of years. I'm 67 years old. I'm retired. It's not like Brent and I were the same age. We weren't. I was more like a mother figure probably to Brent, when we were neighbors, just friends. And, he was a good soul. And the thing is, this case, I started profiling this case on the Idaho 4, and I'm like, none of it makes sense. I knew Kara when 20 years before, in early 2000s, before she had the kids, she was working in Spokane, Washington. I was working on the Robert Yates serial murderers, and Kara was a dear friend of his, and a lot of the girls got killed in Spokane back then. I helped on that case years back. I mean, I have a niche for this, and I'm pretty mature at 67. I know what to keep in and hold on to and throw out the rest of the garbage. And there's just been so much garbage in this Idaho 4 case. And, I hope Koberger has the opportunity to win and continue with his doctorate and earn his degree, something that I believe he was honestly working very hard for. This thing's interrupted a lot of people's lives, and I feel especially sorry for the victims and their families, because nobody deserved that
I
for
agree.
whatever reason.
I agree.
Yeah, so you can keep my number, Mama. If you want to call and talk sometime, I'd love to chat with you.
Well, that's great. I'm blown away by the knowledge that you have. That really pulls a lot. I mean, you gave me so much to digest. My brain is busy enough, and now it's going like all kinds of things to think about over the next week. I kind of feel like, so if Kopaka's over there at the neighbors and to the Idaho board, he's at neighbors. I've always wondered what could he have witnessed because of his "I can see you" post. I've always
That's a
thought,
good
what did he
question, and
witness?
I'm going to have to look at that a lot closer, because, to be honest with you, I've glanced at it, but I haven't really put a lot of effort into it, just because the way a lot of the chatters were on other, channels that going back and forth about it. It's been kind of disheartening for me, but I think I've got my emotions in line, and I could probably look at it and see what I can detail out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this has been very interesting. I kind of wonder, like, I don't know. There's so much to unpack. I can't even. My brain overloaded. I want to thank
Right.
you. I mean, you left me speechless, Carolyn.
Well, I thought about doing a book on this, and not just this case, but including all the profiles that I worked so hard on over the years. And I've always been a little bit shy about publication, but I think there's been enough audience generated throughout what I've seen on my experience in YouTube the last couple years. And, I think if I did put my time into perhaps writing a book, that, it probably would sell. I'd like to be able to leave my children something. I'm getting old,
You write it and I'll do the voice for it, and we'll sell it, audio too.
That'd be awesome.
We have a couple
I
questions
think
for
the
you.
world deserves the right answers, and I think justice really needs to prevail.
Tracy McDaniel has a question for you, and she is asking if you think BK could be an informant.
Absolutely not. I think Brian was there to learn his doctoral and graduate, and had a career aim, and I don't think Brian was an informant whatsoever. On the flip side of this, like I said, I live on this island here in Washington. I've got two bases. I'm between two bases here, the Whitney Nass and the Everett base. And, I did drug risk assessment in communities throughout this United States for pretty near 40 years. And absolutely, I don't think Brian was an informant. Now, Brett was informed when I moved to North Carolina what was going on here in Washington and Idaho, when I left Idaho, because I also lived in Sandpoint, Idaho for a certain amount of time before I went to North Carolina. So, I mean, I'm well aware of the trafficking throughout this United States. No, I don't think Kohberger would have been considered for informant, only because he was too fresh, not knowing the geographics of the state, not knowing the people in the community's names personally, things like that. When you live in communities, you get to become quite intimate with the goings-ons of people. So I would have to say no to that. Right. I don't think Kohberger was that intimate. I think he was more sticking his nose in the books and keeping them there. Any other questions?
Fallon is saying, please do write that book, Carolyn. I'll buy it. That's from Fallon.
Well, thank you. That gives me something to aim towards, because I don't want to write a book and then have it just sit there on the shelf,
I
and
think it
nobody
would
buys
be,
it.
I would help promote it, Carolyn. I would.
Thank you.
Taurus 16 says, do you know where his girlfriend would be now?
No, but there was an interview. I don't know if I saw that on your channel or not, but there was an
Not
interview
mine.
somebody did with the guy and the girlfriend of Brent after he passed, and it was a rather good interview. And I'm going to have to say maybe this interview was done in the last 3 or 4 months.
I'm not sure I saw that one.
I would think that person, because she had a family, and I don't remember her name, but she had a family, and she said that Brent actually had spent a lot of time off and on with their family, her man, and her children.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't recall if that was on your channel or another channel I may have seen.
Well, Dreamweaver is hoping you're careful so that everything, I don't want to read the whole thing, but just, be protective of yourself.
Oh, absolutely. I've managed to take care of myself for 67 years, so I don't have a problem with that. Thank you.
Sheeta is saying that she thinks, I also think Kopaka was Kohlberger's alibi.
He very well could have been.
That one says, yeah, Mama D helped promote your book. Yeah, he could have been.
He very well could have been. And, maybe Cy has those answers from the telecommunications of Brian's phone records.
Cy Ray may have the key to everything. And that would make, I'm sorry, but that would make a lot of sense why we've heard the slip-ups, the Freudian slip-ups.
Yeah, and I want to state this about the YY Park. Whitman County is an area of vast farms and land and nature, and it's just absolutely beautiful. If you've ever been to Whitman County, you would want to go to YY Park and enjoy those skies. It's like looking at the edge of the universe, like you can almost touch it. The skies are so brilliant there with the stars and everything at night, and it's just a lovely park. Matter of fact, Jennifer Koffendorfer and I were speaking last week on there was a case back in the early 70s that they had attributed to possibly Ted Bundy, and it wasn't a Bundy case, and I gave her the who and the what for what my knowledge that I had here for the state of Washington. I said, yeah, that's probably Robert Yates's first kill out there, because the man killed a swan, saved its wings, and he was a teenager at the time, and that was the beginning of his lifelong killing spree, and he's in jail for more than 408 years now.
Right. And
yeah.
That's a good sign, they say, of, when they harm animals.
Exactly.
That's what they do.
He actually grew up on this island in Oak Harbor, up near the Navy base, and his family lived here, and he graduated the local Oak Harbor High School, and I'd be including, his episodes and Green River Murderer, Gary Ridgway, because I was a young woman in the 80s when Ridgway was a prolific serial killer in this state, and how it affected my life as a young mother, just even living in worry and seeing it on the news every day. It was horrible back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And that took decades to solve too,
Well, I totally get it. I live in Wisconsin, and we've had Ed Gein, Jeffrey Dahmer. Who else? We've had a lot in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I lived in Madison for a while. The year my grandson was born, I went out there for a year, and that was before 9/11. And I had returned to Washington. I was living in Spokane when 9/11 happened, and yeah, I love Wisconsin. Beautiful weather, and even in the snow, I couldn't believe how clean they kept the roads there.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely our own little state here, but just like any states in the United States, we have hot areas that you want to avoid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. the Dells, we spent a lot of time in the Dells. I took my family up there for vacation and whatnot before my grandson was born.
The area
And
where
I love the cheese. I love the cheese in Wisconsin, the best
Yeah.
cheese in the world.
that is true. Have you, Carolyn, have you heard of the case of Elijah Vu?
Yes, I have, and that case really disturbs me.
That's Wisconsin.
Yeah, we got to find that little baby's body. You know,
I
it's
keep telling
beyond
y'all.
me.
I know the area. I'm from here. I know the area. I've been there many
Well,
times.
let's put our heads together on that one, Mama.
Well, I've already
Okay.
told everybody where I think he would be because a few years ago, well, and I mentioned this, I think last night that I went to do a interview over at the Avery's Salvage Yard, and it is in that Two Rivers area. This was years ago. Well, after we got done with our YouTube part, we just wanted to make the rest of the day fun, and I had all the girls with me from the channel. Excuse me. And so we went just down the road to a place called Hotel Hell, and it's framed out with marble caves. And Hotel Hell is where Alcatraz, or not Alcatraz, what was his name? Al Capone, sorry.
Right,
Al
right.
Capone, he came through town years before that, and he was a bootlegging place there, but it was also front for bottled water, right? Anyway, that area has marble caves in it. And we decided to just go to all these little sightseeing places, and we ended up at Marble Caves. And when I got there and we got down into Marble Caves, I looked at everybody. I'm like, good Lord. You know how easy it would be to lose someone here? And they're like, oh my God, you'd never find them. Well, while they're sitting there talking about Elijah Vu, everywhere they're naming is right there on top, basically, surrounding Marble Caves.
Well, I'm going to have to do some geo mapping and really take a good close look at that area.
Yeah.
See if we can locate, because I have formulas that I use. Some individuals, when they commit a crime, they're going to keep the body close, not too far, within a first mile or so of an area. Others, can be 30 miles away or hours away.
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends. I have to get keynotes in my mind on, I have to know more on this person, this evil man that this woman gave her child to.
Yeah.
But his whole story of abuse is just absolutely sickening.
We have a question. I think it's a question. Yes. Dana Lynn is asking you about the Idaho board case, and she says, have you ever talked to Ann Taylor?
No, I have not talked to Ann Taylor. I don't try to get involved with the attorneys.
I don't either.
In any cases. I just do my standard work in profiling, but I did submit some of my profiles to the FBI.
Right.
So
right.
if Ann was to get anything from that, she would get it through the FBI.
So she'd have to go through the prosecution to get it then.
Well, no, she's subpoena. She is subpoenaing.
I know.
FBI, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I want to kind of let her go with her flow that she has going, because I really think that Ann is like on top of things, and who knows, we might not even get to a trial. She may end up motioning the courts for a dismissal if she gets a few more witnesses up there. This fellow we had on the other day, he kind of dumped on the prosecution when Ashley asked him, well, how did you come about this? And he says, well, I'm directed by you to do so.
Yeah.
I was like, that was kind of a big boom.
And
that did not look good for her.
It's weird to me for us to be watching all these hearings. I've never on the other cases I've covered, they haven't been like, oh, we're going to have a hearing and so it's going to be televised. I would always get the media telling us what happened behind, the result of the hearing today is blah, 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 and now we're to Jim and the weather. And so for me, It's really like the case is getting tried in the public before it gets tried by a jury almost.
Well, I thought the witness they had on the other day was interesting in the fact that his knowledge was brought to the grand jury.
Yeah, but he didn't seem to know anything on.
Prosecution tried pulling a fast one on that, and I'm glad that Ann got that opened up the other day, because that will be one of her stepping stones.
Well, and she's like, she finally just came out and said it. Are you saying you didn't save your work?
Right. I mean, how important is that?
Right.
You have to follow protocol.
Yep.
So there's a lot of slacking going on there. Personally, I don't think Chief Fry deserves a badge in any community. I think he doesn't deserve his retirement. I think he needs to be held on some charges for conspiracy, against Kopaka. A man has lost his life over this, unnecessarily. Yeah. And I'm going to keep fighting the good fight. I'm all the way up there with General Miller and General Milley. They were the top dogs. General Miller was his commander when he was at Fort Bragg before he went and ended the war in Afghanistan. Yeah, General Scott Miller was his commander. Scott was a one-star general at the time that he was base commander at Fort Bragg years back, and then Trump put him in over there to Afghanistan the last 2 years, and then Scott left a couple months, almost 2 months. He left in July, and the end of the war was before September because Taliban was just going to be cutting loose everywhere around there. They had to get out of there safely. So, but General Milley was also an outstanding general. He, of all people, has the resources to dig deep into anything military records. So I'm going to keep pushing those two on that. And
and keep us updated, not to jeopardize anything, but just when you can, kind of let us know if there's anything that, we'll be praying for it, we'll be pulling for it. And I believe, honestly, there is some connection. I don't know what it is, but I do not believe that Kopaka's guilty, but I do think he saw something because he says, I can see you. And that, to me, is saying he saw something. And it was just too weird the way it all went down, the timing of everything. It just, I can't. It doesn't pass the sniff test.
I agree.
It's frustrating.
All right, Mama. Well, I'm going to get off the phone here.
All right, lovely.
Just speaking in public too much, so.
Well, I am so proud of you
for. Not nervous or anything, but.
No, but you did an excellent job. I just truly love being able to converse with all of you. I really appreciated our conversation tonight. I'm gonna kind of call it a night. I've had one of them really long days, but I do want to say, and did you serve in the military yourself?
No, I grew up in government. My family was government my whole life, and my dad he managed a lot of the nuclear things for the United States. So, I grew up around military my entire life.
Well, let's thank everybody for the service that they have given. And
absolutely, I salute our veterans,
yes,
our past and our future, and our current veterans, always. I have such great respect for our United States militaries.
Thank you.
And I have a great respect for peace. I don't want to see a World War III or anything like that. I'm like, we all got to get along in this life.
That's for sure. That is for sure.
A hope and a prayer. Thank you, Mama. It's been an honor to speak with you tonight.
Oh, lovely. I've just enjoyed you so much. I want to thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you again sometime.
And please save my number, and if you feel like you want to give me a call and have a little free time to talk, just feel free to call. I'm not that busy in this day and age.
Well, I'm writing your number down.
So I'm available. You won't be interrupting anything.
Thank you, Carolyn Miller. I love you, hon. I love you. I
You're
love you.
welcome, dear. Love you too.
Have
Thanks,
a great
chat.
Memorial Day. Bye, hon.
Okay. You too. Have a lovely weekend,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was awesome. Let me get my microphone back up here for you guys. Wow, I love that caller. That was Carolyn Miller. And I'm going to do replay today because I'm going to listen again to what all I've got so much to unpack. I have so much to unpack. Oh, my dog tooted. Pew! I bought a new dog treat, and dang, I'm not giving it to him anymore. Shenanigans says, great show, thanks. And Time for Change says, I'm so glad I caught this. Thank you, Carolyn. Oh, you have so many thank yous, Carolyn. Thank you, lovely. Palm Mom says, great call. Right, Bugsy? Remember the pollen for us. Absolutely. Time for Change says, thank you, True Crime. Well, thank you guys so much. And now I know what we want is we want a calmer screen and we want to just slow everything down. And we have enough stress in our life. But, I got to thinking about it. I'm like, I'm trying too hard. What do I want to talk about? What do I want to feel when I talk with you guys? I want to talk about the truth of the matter, right? Which is words matter. We have the judge talking about, he is trying to say Kohlberger, which is the defendant. But this is a couple months ago or however long ago was this case, though. He actually says Kopaka. And Brent Kopaka was swatted the same time that the other one, Brian Kohlberger, leaves. It's so tight. It's so tight. And we have Carolyn explaining that Kopaka was next door. I'll have to talk to her and get it set up so that I can understand when she says next door where she means. Like what address. All right. So if he's there and he's ticked off, how'd he get home? Wow. This has just got me like my brain. Aw, thank you, George. I love the great work you do. I'm just me, lovely. I'm just a mom. I'm just, I get on here and let you guys converse, and I learned so much through you guys. Nani McPoppins, welcome back, lovely. You say, thanks for calling in, Carolyn Miller. So happy I was here for your call. I know, right? Right? Bugsy says, right? The same day. I think it was December 15th, wasn't it? How did he get home? I want to know that too, Taurus. Hey, Hollyberry, you say, thanks so much for an amazing life. So glad I made it tonight. Yes, I remember when JJ did that. Also, right after Brent was swatted, that's when they started hardcore investigation on Brian. I want to talk to Carolyn and we're going to find out because Nurse 101 says, didn't he drive his parents' Elantra? That's what we want to do. We want to I'll tell you what, you guys. Post in the comments below after the video's done. So for those of you that are on replay, you'll be able to post your comment below with your questions for Carolyn regarding Brent Kopaka. Some of them she'll answer, some she won't, right? Anyway, and then what I'll do is I'll get on a call with her. We can record that, and it'll let me ask the questions. And then I can play it back for you guys. And she can be in the audience while I play back her answers. And that way, if she wants to come back on for another call, she could. I got tongue-tied. Tracy McDaniel. There it is. The judge is asking if it's okay if he signs the paperwork. He has no business in that seat. I know, right? I told y'all, it's the Muppets. Can you not see it? I've got like my hand in a puppet here with the black robe. And it's like, the two old geezers up on the balcony on the Muppets. Well, in this case, we got one behind the desk, and then we got Santa, the one, we'll give him the big beard. Yeah. It's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating. Summer Snow says Brent had knife and sword collection, and could BK have touched any of those items, such as a sheath? And then they grabbed it and they planted it. I added the last part, the grab and plant. You got that. You need a boom. Super Snow, you got it. I almost wanted to say Toyota. As says at Carolyn, thank you for answering the Elantra question chat. Okay, let's go back up. Carolyn's in our chat. Yes, it was his mother's Elantra. Y'all, did his mama come pick him up? Is that his mama picking up Brent Kopaka? And the cops are trying to say. Or did he drive his mama's Elantra over there to have the fight with the ex-girlfriend, the cheater, and he was leaving, ticked off, and they're like, okay, we got this all figured out, because it can't be the brat. Ex-con says BK was in tune to Brent's event. She just says, thank you, True Crime and Carolyn, for all the great info and insights. Teresa McDaniel says, could be. Ex-con says, you got to have good cop, bad cop mentally to pull off the whole charade. Dreamweaver 2 says, yep, and Brian probably had Brent's phone number in there in his phone because he drove Brent's places. Could be. Carolyn Miller says, don't go. And y'all, this is true. Carolyn's right on it, because I did some research and I found out it had been years. I don't know about the 8 years, but I trust Carolyn. I heard well over 3 or 4. Says don't go by Darren's graphics about Brent. Period. Darren hadn't seen Brent for 8 years. Interesting. George said Brent probably drove his mom's car and sped off fast because he's being upset with his girlfriend. Boom, George. I love you, George. Thank you. You got it, you guys. My mind is feeling peace within my soul when things begin to fit. It's like, you guys, you all come together and we get answers that we've had questions for. Dreamweaver 2 says Ryan's sister said that Brian told her that he has a couple security guard friends and that he dropped him off allegedly. Who's Ryan? Do you mean Brian's sister? I think you're missing a B, honey. But I think Dreamweaver means Brian. Ah, George says love you too. Thank you, dear. Ex-con says, I say that at Mama D because I find it strange no attorney stepped up and took BK's high-profile case. Interesting. Ooh, Fallon. Fallon says maybe they needed to brain BK to protect others, and Brent may have been able to provide an alibi for BK, so was eliminated. Wow. All right, my lovely Luz. Oh, wow. We'll do a couple more, and then we're going to jump up here. Hollyberry says, also, when looking at the search warrant for BK's apartment in Pullman, they clearly list what they are looking for. It says K-bar knife. Well, I think it says knife. Does it say K-bar? And it does say sheath. They may have taken his own sheath. dang, 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 it's really making sense. I got to try to put this together and submit it to you guys in a theory because that's just what Mama D does. And maybe I'll put a little background to it like this and just walk through the theory and play it for you guys. It might take me a few days. Best to me says best color and information provider for us on this case. So best caller and information provider for us on this case so far, I think. I agree. I absolutely agree. I want to say I thank you so humbly much for calling in, Carolyn Miller. I mean, that to me, it just gave me so, it gave all of us so much to digest. And I trust you're authentic. I truly do. I will save your number. We all from 1111 want to say thank you to you. Thank you for that huge $50 snooper chat, Jennifer Swain. You are incredible. You are amazing. And I want to thank you all so incredibly much for everything you do. Now, if I don't screw this up, it'll be amazing, you guys. Let's go back to our opener. I know. It's so much better the other way. So, I love you guys. I want you to know that I am grateful for all the service people out there. Your service has provided us with this beautiful blessing of life that we have. And that is priceless. Thank you.